Don't get Mrs. Penn upset. All right. I hereby call this meeting to order and thank everyone for being here today. I'd like to introduce our special guest, Paul Zachary with the City of Tulsa, Bobby Stem, of course, with OAGC, and Mike Patterson, former Secretary of Transportation. Where's Mike? He's in back. Okay. All right. Commission Secretary will please call the roll.
Mr. Coburn?
Coburn here.
Mr. Studeville?
Studeville's here.
Mr. Freimiller?
Freimiller here.
Mr. Dyson?
Dyson here.
Mr. Alexander?
Alexander here.
Mr. Junk?
Junk here.
Mr. Peterson?
Here. Director Gatz, you are recognized to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this morning is our kickoff, as we always do in April, at the commission meeting of work zone awareness. During the month of April, ODOT and OTA put an extra emphasis on work zone awareness as the summer construction travel seasons approach. National observance is April the 21st through the 25th. We appreciate everybody's donning of orange attire in recognition of especially you, Commissioner Junk. That's a good color on you. But we appreciate the commission donning orange to show your support for our efforts out there. Also, I want to recognize and welcome the Turnpike Authority as our partners, and we're really excited to have them join us today for the campaign kickoff. Probably noticed a large orange cone in the lobby today. That's erected in honor of the 73 fallen ODOT and OTA workers that were killed on the job. I want to recognize Mitch Surratt and Ken Phillips for their efforts, because you don't just order a traffic cone like that. So they went above and beyond so that we could have that recognition, and very much appreciate the work that they did. We had an unfortunate reminder of the need to put the emphasis on work zone safety this past winter when Jaden Jackson was tragically killed while performing routine patching operations in southeast Oklahoma. Again, a very tragic loss of life, but it's something that reminds us of how dangerous our construction work zones are. Not just for our workers, but for the folks that are traveling through them. So we have a proclamation from the governor. And Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd read the proclamation.
Please.
Whereas the state of Oklahoma is dedicated to providing a strong transportation infrastructure system for travel and commerce on both the local and national levels. And whereas the construction and maintenance of Oklahoma highways, interstates, and turnpikes most often is done while roads are still under traffic, where both motorists and highway workers must share the road, and whereas a work zone can be unexpected and temporary during emergency repairs or crashes, placing crews and responders in direct contact with traffic, and whereas, in its history, 73 Oklahoma Department of Transportation and Oklahoma Turnpike Authority employees have been killed in the line of duty, more than any other state agency except the military. And whereas hundreds of collisions occur in work zones annually, and many of these fatalities and injuries were caused by inattentive driving, following too closely, and speeding in construction zones. Tragically, motorists are far more likely to be injured or killed in work zones annually than highway workers. And whereas most recent crash data shows 532 collisions occurred in Oklahoma work zones in a year, where crashes in highway and turnpike work zones can have significant consequences, such as increased congestion, economic impacts for lost time, and insurance costs, as well as life-changing impacts. And whereas state law and fines for speeding in work zones are doubled and texting while driving is banned, drivers are asked to remain vigilant behind the wheel and buckle up, as 50% of crashes potentially would have been less severe for drivers wearing a seatbelt. And whereas ODOT and Turnpike Authority are highlighting work zone awareness during a specific month-long safety initiative with the theme of Make It Home Safe, Make Oklahoma Safe. Now therefore, I, J. Kevin Stitt, Governor of the State of Oklahoma, as part of the National Work Zone Awareness Observation, do hereby proclaim April 21st through 25th of 2025 as Oklahoma Work Zone Awareness Week in the state of Oklahoma. So very much appreciate the governor's proclamation and his recognition of the serious nature. Events across the state, we're going to hold an employee moment of silence on April 11th to honor ODOT and OTA's 73 fallen workers. That'll be out here in front of the building at the memorial. Some notable areas will glow orange on April 23rd, such as Oklahoma City's Skydance Bridge over I-40 and the Myriad Botanical Gardens Crystal Bridge, Tulsa's Williams Crossing Pedestrian Bridge and One Oak Boathouse, as well as Moore's 34th Street Bridge over I-35. An event for teen drivers was held last week in Sealing, and events are upcoming in Coweta and Tulsa with our partners Oklahoma Work Zone Safe and Oklahoma Challenge. And we'll view 2 new Work Zone Safety public service announcements during my director's report. And want to ask that ODOT and OTA workers stand, representing all workers, and be recognized. And Mr. Chairman, if I might recognize Tom Robbins, President of Work Zone Safe. He has a special award he'd like to present. So.
Thank you, Mr. Gatz. Commissioners, rightfully, April is a time that we gather together and remember the fallen. And this organization, as do many others, provides scholarships and support for those who have been seriously injured or have lost their lives in the line of duty. But we also think it's important to educate and engage new teen drivers so they understand their personal responsibility for both themselves, their passengers, the construction workers, and the first responders that they share the road with. In doing so, we kicked off Work Zone Safe Month, and I dare say that we have the best kickoff in the nation for that as we celebrated the 3rd annual Work Zone Safe Take Center Court, where we invited over 300 teens and to come to a Thunder game with us and to join our ODOT construction workers, turnpike, and contractors and first responders to enjoy a game, to get to know their families, and afterwards, of course, it was a victory, to go take a picture on center court. Today, as I stand here, we're out in the Panhandle. We're doing an event with Oklahoma Challenge, where today and tomorrow we'll have over 500 teens each day learning about the faces and family behind every flag and flashing light. The mission of Work Zone Safe is for every new teen driver to know that there's a face and family behind every flag, cone, and flashing light. And we do that through 2 ways. One is our hands-on program. I'm proud to say that this department, along with the Turnpike, is the only one in the country that I know of that supports a hands-on program that allows our employees, along with contractors and first responders, to go out in front of teens, to set up a mobile work zone and to walk them through that, and to be able to give them a sense for what they're experiencing, but most importantly, tell them who they are and share their close calls. Number 2, as you're all aware, is that we were the first in the country to deliver a now required by state law program for every new teen driver to know about speeding, distraction, seatbelts, signs, laws in a work zone, and to know about the faces and family behind the flag cones and flashing light as they're introduced to the memorial. I'm proud to tell you, I don't think it's officially announced, but there might be a state just to our north and then just to our northeast who later this month will be announcing that they'll be following in the footsteps of the leadership of Oklahoma and providing a course for their students and their teen drivers based on this model, which was supported by you as commissioners and of course our director and previous director. It might also be no surprise that when it comes to our great ODOT employees, not all of them fancy themselves a public speaker. And if you put them out there with teens, they might say, hey, what are we doing here and how do I talk to these teens? But they warm up pretty quick to it. And after the first or second go around, it's almost like you can't shut them up because they have so much great things to say about why they work for the Department of Transportation, the pride that they have. But unfortunately, they have too many close calls. The director, Gatz, mentioned that we were in sealing this last week as part of our Work Zone Safe activities. And in doing so, Brent Almquist, is Brent here? Okay, Brent, come on up. Is Jay here with you? Yeah, Jay's here. All right, come on up, Jay. Now, I have done this literally, we have done it over with 30,000 students across the state of Oklahoma, teaching these kids about Work Zone Safe. Brent has always been a champion and was one of our first. And then Jay, I'm going to embarrass him a little bit. He is the absolute best of engaging teens. You might think that teens have their earbuds in, they might be looking away, they might not be paying attention. Jay's got a knack for getting their attention in a fun way. He uses a little bit of humor and gets them to understand that he's a person and that his work zone family wants to come home safe. And I have seen kids literally laugh and smile, if you can believe it, when he's talking about going through a work zone. And we got some great videos we can probably show you later. But in recognition of Mr. Almquist's district, of their dedication of always showing up, and then of course, and specifically Jay, we want to award you this year's District Work Zone Safe Champion Award on behalf of Work Zone Safe. One last thing, because we did that Thunder thing. Do you like the Thunder, Jay? Absolutely. Well, they're going to be in the playoffs, I heard. First round, second home game, you and a guest, we'll see who your best friend is in the district, have 2 VIP tickets to go to the Thunder game in recognition of your dedication to the teens of the state of Oklahoma. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, congratulations to Jay and Brent and for the work that they're doing. We very much appreciate the partnership of Tom and Work Zone Safe. Also want to recognize Bobby Stem with the AOGC. Our construction contractor partners that are out there in the work zones work very hard adjacent to our highways also. And Bobby's really doing some great work with a PSA program called Respect the Cone Zone, and is just doing a tremendous job. So we want to recognize their efforts also and encourage the traveling public to really pay attention, not just during the month of April, but always whenever they encounter orange barrels and orange cones. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Director Gatz. Item 43 is approval of the minutes of the Transportation Commission meeting on March 3rd, 2025. Do I have a motion for approval of
Motion,
item
Dyson.
43? Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much. The consent docket contains items 44 through 49. If any commissioner would like to pull an individual item out for discussion, he may do so at this time. Otherwise, I'll hear a motion for approval of the consent docket.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Coburn. Do I have a second?
Second, Alexander.
Okay, Alexander for a second. Thank you. Please cast your vote. Thank you. The motion passes. Item 50 is a programming item. Mr. Hernandez, you are recognized to present.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Item 50 is a request for approval to program a project to repair fire damage to the I-244 ramp over Southern Kansas and Oklahoma Railroad. Estimated cost of this project is $340,000 using state aid funds. The project will be ready for a June 2025 letting, and the party responsible for this damage is unknown. Similar to the bridge that we brought to commission in February, this fire was started by members of the transient community. It was not a traffic-related incident. There's photos. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
So this is a separate bridge?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any idea the amount annually that we're spending to repair?
We do. We can get you that data. We've got it collected.
And
You're
with
talking
the,
about just from fires?
yeah, I'm just curious, with the state law changing this last year, prohibiting encampments on state right-of-way and property, I'd be curious just to know what the state's plan is to enforce those new laws, as we seem to be approving these more and more
Sure.
every year. Maybe at a next commission or in a separate meeting, something we can discuss internally.
Okay.
No, good point. Good point.
I would like to ask if, is there any way that we could do some way to make it harder for them to get up into those corners with some fencing or something? I mean, it's cheaper than fires.
There are things that can be done. Nothing's 100% foolproof.
I understand.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things that can be done. on the
Have we
construction
thought
side.
about trying to do any of those, or are we doing any of those, or?
We have not done any. The city has, Oklahoma City has done some. We have not done any of that. Certainly worth a discussion.
I think it'd be a good discussion to have, because I think it's only gonna get worse and worse. I mean, we can see it month to month here as we, when I got on the commission, we never saw anything like this, and now it's a pretty common deal monthly, and it's dangerous. It's not
Sure.
only dangerous for them, but it's dangerous for the motor vehicles if they weaken those bridges, and that happens before the next inspections. We could have a real disaster there, if we have a bridge sink or fall and actually kill some really innocent people.
There are definitely serious safety, traveling safety implications for sure.
I would certainly like to see us take a more positive approach at looking at how to protect the public on this.
Thank you very much. Anything else?
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 50?
Motion, Junk.
Thank you. And a second?
Second, Kilburn.
Thank you, Commissioner Coburn. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Item 51 is engineering contracts. Mr. Hernandez, you're recognized to continue.
Okay, I've got 3 contracts this month. They're all statewide. Part A, all district statewide off-system truss and fracture critical bridge inspections. The department has selected 2 firms to provide these contract services. They are Strintec Corporation and Trans Systems Incorporated. The contract value for this contract is $4,496,194. And just some information, this is going to include 187 bridges to be inspected. 165 of those are truss bridges. Again, this is off-system. Part B is statewide on-system truss and fracture critical bridge inspections. The department has selected 1 firm to provide these services. That they are Strintec Corporation. Contract value is $1,683,013. This is for 53 bridges that are considered fracture critical on system, 6 of which are trusses. And there are 24 of those bridges programmed within the construction work plan or asset preservation plan. Part C is all district statewide on-demand intelligent transportation systems and fiber optic inspections. The department has selected 3 firms to provide contract services. They are Freese and Nichols, Poe and Associates, and WSB. Contract value is not to exceed $4,500,000. And that is all the contracts for this month. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 52?
Motion Dyson.
Thank you. And
That was item 51.
51, excuse me. Yep. So a motion for approval of item 51. Commissioner
Dyson.
Dyson has made that. Do I have a second?
Second, Coburn.
Thank you. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you. Item 52 is engineering contract supplements. Mr. Hernandez, you're recognized to continue.
Thank you. Part A is all districts statewide. This is on-demand preliminary engineering site plans and inspections for railroad crossings. The department has previously selected J. Webb and Associates to provide these services. This is the fourth supplement, and the value for this supplement is not to exceed $500,000. Part B is District 4 in Noble County, US 177. The project intent is to reconstruct and rehabilitate existing facility and safety improvements. The department has previously selected Aguirre and Fields to provide these services, and this supplement is for additional engineering services. This is their first supplement. Supplemental value is not to exceed $71,757. And the construction phase of this project is included in the 8-year construction work plan with scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2029. And finally, Part C is District 7, Grady County. This is State Highway 4. Project intent is to add capacity to roadway. The department has previously selected CEC Corporation to provide these services. This is their first supplement and is for additional engineering services. The construction phase for this project is included in the 8-year construction work plan with scheduled let date federal fiscal year 2027. And this supplemental value is not to exceed $155,700.
Thank you very much.
Approval is recommended. I'll answer any questions you might have.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 52?
Approve. Motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Freimiller. And do I have a second?
Second, Studeville.
Thank you. And any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 53 is change orders with cumulative total of $150,000 or less. This is for information only. Mr. Leonard, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'd like to present item number 53, parts A through double J. These are change orders on projects which have a cumulative total of change orders of $150,000 or more. They're presented for your information only and no action is necessary, but I'd certainly be glad to answer any questions.
Okay. There are no questions, Mr. Leonard. You're recognized to present item 54, change orders with cumulative total greater than $150,000.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, item 54, parts A through V. These are change orders on projects which have a cumulative total of change orders greater than $150,000. Your approval is recommended, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Very good. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 54?
Motion Dyson.
Thank you. And a second?
Another second.
Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Leonard. Item 55 is election of Transportation Commission officers. General Counsel Sarah Penn will present this item.
Good morning, Commissioners. As we announced at our last commission meeting, pursuant to our rules, we hold commission elections in April of every odd year, and this is that meeting. So with that, we can start.
Following slate of officers, Bob Peterson is chair, David Dyson is vice chair, and Bob Coburn is secretary to serve another 2 years.
Are there any other nominations? May I have a nomination to close?
Make a motion to close.
Make a motion to close.
I make a motion to close.
Thank you.
Second, Alexander.
Thank you. All right. And we proceed to vote.
Yes, we're going to move that the slate of officers,
I'll move that the slate of officers be elected.
Okay.
and then a second.
Second, Studeville.
Please vote. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You're stuck with us again. All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Penn, for your assistance. I'm a little out of order here. Shelley, wait 1 minute. Item 56 is Oklahoma Capital Improvement Authority lease agreement. Ms. Helmus, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and
Morning.
members of the commission. Agenda item 56 is for the Oklahoma Capital Improvement Authority lease agreement. In May of 2024, the legislature approved and the governor signed House Bill 2915, authorizing the Oklahoma Capital Improvement Authority to issue $500 million in bonds. The current agreement that we're requesting is for a lease agreement for $275 million for 3 projects. And if you'll bear with me, I'll read into the minutes the necessary language for approval. The request is for authorization to support the transaction entered into by the Oklahoma Capital Improvement Authority and the Oklahoma Department of Transportation pursuant to Title 73 Oklahoma Statutes 2021, Section 350.2, and a resolution adopted by OCIA on February 25th, 2025. The debt service associated with the anticipated State Highways Capital Improvement Revenue Bonds Series 2025A will be payable from and secured by payments to OCIA by ODOT pursuant to a lease agreement for use and possession between OCIA and ODOT. ODOT, through the director, requests authorization to negotiate the terms and conditions of and to execute and deliver the lease agreement and the transactions contemplated thereby and other documents, agreements, and certifications as may be necessary or required in connection with any of the foregoing financing agreements. The department requests and recommends approval of this item.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 56?
Motion approved, Alexander.
Thank you. And a second?
Second, Coburn.
Thank you. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Helmus. Item 57 is proposed bid openings. Ms. Bryant, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Good morning.
Item 57, proposed bid openings consist of the final May 2025, the tentative June 2025, and the tentative July 2025 bid openings. The department recommends approval.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 57?
Motion, Dyson.
Thank you. And a second?
Second, Coburn.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 58 is awards. Mr. Goka, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman,
Good morning.
Commissioners. Item 58 is the awards from the March bid openings. It will be in 2 parts. Part A is from the March 13th, 2025 regular bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the March 13th bid opening referred to by call order be awarded. 510, 525, 537, 538, 550, 555, 565, and 573. Part B is from the March 20th regular bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the March 20th bid opening referred to by call order be awarded. 536, 546, 571, 572, 600, 635, 645, and 675. This concludes the recommendations for awards and approval is requested.
Thank you. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 58?
Motion, Studeville.
Commissioner Studeville, thank you. And a second?
Frymiller, second.
Commissioner Frymiller, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Goka. Item 59 is the Director's Report. Director Gatz, you are recognized to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. If you might have detected that Ms. Bryant walked to the podium with a little bit more confidence this morning when she presented the tentative letting lists. So that is because the Congress passed a continuing resolution that will extend our federal funding through the end of the year. So that's September 30th. That's good news. We're glad to have access to that additional funding that we're going to need to get through the end of the year. You'll see that again reflected in the April letting. The deposit of the revenues into the appropriate funding accounts pending, but we do have a high level of confidence that it'll be there. So as of today, we are planning to proceed with the April letting in accordance with the letting list. And look forward to moving ahead. One of the things that if Congress had passed the full appropriations bill, it had a fix that would have helped us with the fourth quarter redistribution issue that we get into every year. Because they chose a continuing resolution, that fix did not get included. So you're going to hear us talk a lot about fourth quarter redistribution, some of the challenges that presents for us as we go further towards the end of the fiscal year. And again, if you'll recall, fundamentally, we have to try to scramble at the end of a fiscal year to spend the dollars that were allocated to other places because, we are going on an annual appropriation cycle. That causes us to fundamentally spend next year's money faster, which is never a bad thing. What's hard about it is getting the dollars in the right funding pots and having the contract authority available to be able to accomplish it. So, but again, we'll keep you posted as we progress through that. May have picked up a little bit of media coverage on the status of bridges here in Oklahoma. The coverage was related to NTSB and their report on some of the big navigation bridges in the country, about 68 of them. NTSB said the states ought to take a hard look at them to make sure that they felt comfortable that they included enough protection against impact. So those 68 bridges, the states are going to do just that, do a little bit of studying. Oklahoma was not on that list, even though we do have the McClellan-Kerr Arkansas River Navigation System here. After the Arkansas I-40 River Bridge was knocked down, the department put a lot of effort and a lot of study into making sure that our navigation structure bridges were well protected, including as of now, and Commissioner Coburn, we've got the 62 bridge under construction in Muskogee. That bridge, along with US 59 that was replaced really during the time period of the Arkansas I-40 River Bridge, both of those structures are hardened and fully able to withstand the types of impacts that we might see in the navigation system. And again, we have introduced additional pier protection cells both upstream and downstream of some of our other navigation structures. And we continue to work with, especially in District 1, with bridge replacement projects on some of the other nav structures. So Oklahoma is well positioned. It gave us an opportunity to talk about the success we've had with improving our highway bridge infrastructure. And certainly that's a good thing and that's a good story. It's taken us a couple of decades to do it, but that diligence that's been well supported by previous commissions and this commission has really made a difference for the traveling public in the state of Oklahoma. Fire damage on bridges, guys, I want to tell you that we recognize that for the problem that it is, especially in the metropolitan areas of Tulsa and Oklahoma City. We have worked with the municipalities, and there are several locations where we have hardened the underneath side of those bridges and introduced some things like concrete barriers. We've grouted in some riprap to make it less able to go in and establish an encampment. And that's not being unempathetic to what's, what some of the homeless population is dealing with. That is being attentive to our stewardship of taxpayer dollars and the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of damage that can be caused quickly. Not to mention, we have also worked to relocate encampments that have gone in place under bridges, and those are hundreds of thousands of dollars to relocate and clean up. So, major problem and a major issue. We work hand in hand with those municipalities and really any municipality that's having a challenge like this to try to come up with some ideas and ways to protect the infrastructure and make sure we're not ignoring the challenges of the homeless population that are out there. So we've got to have partners in those, and we try to take advantage of every opportunity that we have. But we've got to continue to work on this issue because it is not going to go away. So,
I have a question. And seeing all of our employees sitting back there behind you really makes me want to ask this question. I'm very concerned, one, with the homeless, just the problems that they're experiencing. But my main deal in sitting up here, I think, is the general public in driving cars down roads and over bridges and stuff like that. And I was wondering, as you gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen behind our secretary here, are you ever encountered and put in any life-threatening situations when you're out there trying to move when you're trying to move those people and stuff? And is there anything that we can do here while we've got you sitting here that might help us be able to help you to be able to take care of this problem better? Or are they pretty, and maybe this group doesn't deal with them, but it's a concern to me, for the safety of the homeless people and for our employees both, and just wondering if there's anything that we need to do special to help our employees mainly.
and Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, the thing I'd tell you is, yes, our employees encounter, not just encampments, but people on a fairly regular basis. We're pretty good at managing that in the field, but I'll tell you also, there are often times when we've got to engage law enforcement to provide assistance, and that's those partnerships that are necessary. So if we're going in to move or relocate or clean up an encampment, 100%, we will have to have law enforcement partners engaged and involved, along with social services to an extent. So again, there are very specific protocols being developed to help facilitate that. We've got some in place, but this is a difficult problem, not just in Oklahoma, but across the country. And it's something we recognize and we've got to continue to work at. The law with the state highway rights-of-way put us in a better position to be able to act, but it's still something we can't do unilaterally without the municipality partners, sometimes the sheriff's office and others. So.
Yeah, Mr. Director, you've done an amazing job. I know, some of the municipalities have entered into an MOU with the state to ensure that municipal law enforcement can come in. We certainly don't want to have to see, on a day when we're sitting here talking about and honoring the commitment that your employees have made to the state. It is concerning for them to have to enter those situations where people that are experiencing, whether it's mental health crisis or, under the influence of drugs, they're not trained to go into that space. And I think that's our concern, is that they're being forced to. And it's not so long ago when I-85 in Atlanta burned down because of a major fire, and we certainly don't want to see that situation in Oklahoma. So I think it's, this commission's desire is to apply whatever pressure we can to the cities in particular to embrace that MOU and to start providing that law enforcement support in coordination with these, a high number of nonprofits that have the expertise and the resources to house them. And so we just want to make sure that we're elevating the issue, one, to protect the taxpayers from having to continue to refurbish these bridges, but also to make sure that your employees are protected. I just think it's a very sensitive thing for this commission, especially on a day like today where we're talking about their safety. So thank you for all you've done, and whatever this commission can do to continue to apply pressure to the cities, we're happy to do so.
I would also like to back that up and say to the employees out here that are here today, thank you guys so much for what you do. It's a difficult job, and some days it's very difficult. We do understand that, and we appreciate everything that you all do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, commissioners, and very much appreciate the attention and support on something that's a very challenging subject. And again, we're going to have to continue to evolve and get better at this. So appreciate your consideration of the Creek Turnpike Interstate designation this morning. That's something that's been discussed and talked about for many years. It's nice to finally get that moving towards having a new interstate in the Tulsa area. On the side of major project updates, and I think we've got some videos here, but on Interstate 44 and US 75, seems like we've talked about this just about every commission meeting because we need to. This is a massive project, $252 million phase that is about to get started. Matter of fact, it's starting today, April 7th. And it's the most expensive contract in ODOT history. $95 million of the funding comes from 2 federal grants. And again, we're looking forward to getting this project started. That'll happen with a groundbreaking ceremony in recognition with the city of Tulsa on April the 21st. And, you know, this is that location that's commonly referred to as the Tulsa Stonehenge or the ODOT Stonehenge. And it's going to be completed over the next 3 years. The piers that we were able to build a little bit early because we had some funds available would have been much costlier had we have waited till today to get them, just because fundamentally in materials. But they also will save the travel and public some disruption during the course of the construction project. A couple of ramp closures are going to start soon. They'll stay closed for most of the project. That's westbound 44 to northbound 75 and southbound 75 to eastbound 44. And then we're going to have a major traffic shift. Right now, it looks like it's probably going to be in August. And again, that's going to be and continue to be a pretty challenging project. Also want to mention Interstate 40 in Douglas, the interchange in Midwest City. And that has recently had another significant traffic shift. And this shift moved I-40 traffic onto the new eastbound pavement so we can remove the final section of the old Douglas Bridge this spring. Project started in November of 2022 and is scheduled to wrap up by the end of 25. A major impact on traffic coming into the metro area from the east, as well as traffic heading into the Tinker Air Force Base proper. Also serves as a great case study about why we need the travel and public to slow down and pay attention in our work zones. We've had several crashes, workers hit, and multiple close calls in this work zone. And we've used these work zone experiences in some of our field crew for this year's work zone awareness messaging. Again, I think most importantly, the issue that we see materialize regularly in our construction work zones is a simple function of speed. If we could get the travel and public to obey the posted black and white speed limit signs, our work zones would be much safer because, again, the configurations of the work zones can be a little bit difficult and challenging to navigate, which is one of the primary reasons that we lower the speed limit. So if we can get everybody to help us out with that. We've got a couple of PSAs this morning that we'd like to debut. And the first is a close call PSA. And if we can roll that video.
We definitely see a lot of folks that are speeding through our work zones over the posted speed limits. Quite often we'll see folks that are on their cell phones actively driving through our work zones. It's obviously a concern for us. Both our ODOT staff and our contractors' workers are often near the roadway. It's often required, and we obviously want them to go home safe.
I started the day about 7-ish, and no sooner than I was there 30 seconds and got hit. A lady had crossed 2.5 lanes of traffic and took out the whole right side of my work truck. I had all my lights on. So I have 2 children and obviously, parents and siblings, and just want to go home and be able to see them again. I'd like to see my kids graduate.
Me personally, my wife and my 2 kids, right? And I suspect almost everybody out here, from the drivers on our roadway to our ODOT staff to all of our contracting workers, they all have a very good reason as well. If it's not family, the things that everyone else values in life, your own personal life, your home life, your pets maybe, we all have those things.
That's why we want you to slow down and pay attention to what you're doing.
The second is what's called here is a jingle PSA. Just in advance of the question that might be asked, I will not dance. So in case you were wondering, but this is one I'll give credit to Sarah Penn for. So if we can roll the PSA number 2.
Is she going to sing it for us?
Oh, yeah.
She absolutely will.
Wear your seatbelt, wear your seatbelt, buckle up, buckle up. Be careful in the work zone, and we all will make it home. Be careful in the work zone, and we all will make it home. Buckle up, buckle up.
Couple of good PSAs there that were well supported by ODOT personnel and some of our partners. We certainly hope that the traveling public will help us out during the month of April, but all the time. The choices you make behind the wheel can affect yours and our family, friends, communities forever. Ask everyone use caution in work zones and know there are people that are working there. As a reminder, one of the simplest ways to avoid a fatality in a crash is always to wear a seatbelt, just as that group just advised. Oklahoma ranks 40th in the nation for seatbelt use. I think you'll see that number reflected in our fatality crash rate. And again, you could be those crashes can be less severe if you're just buckled up. So we've got to improve that ranking by making good choices. Commissioners, I'd like to ask you and our guest ODOT field and OTA field partners to gather out in the lobby immediately following the commission meeting. We'd like to do a photo op out there. So if you would join us, we would very much appreciate it. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I would stand for any questions that the commission might have of me.
Commissioners have any questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Director Gatz. If commissioners have no other comments, then I'd hear a motion for item 60, which is adjournment.
Motion Dyson.
Thank you. And a second?
Second Coburn.
Thank you, Commissioner Colburn. Please cast your vote. Motion passes. We are adjourned.